Buenos noches, amigos. That's a ChatGPT opening script. Welcome. This is something a little different for Technically Unsound. Actually, anything at all is something different. But I wanted to say morning. Hey, Infinity. Good morning to you, sir. We're going to do something very different, as I've already said. And I am trying to discipline myself from not jittering and swerving like I always do. I've been watching myself, some recordings of my past like live streams, and I'm always like moving around and like being weird. It's a very tough conscious effort not to do that. I guess I've always just done it my whole life. Okay. I'm on vacation this week, so I'm just killing time. But I wanted to try something a little different. Man, how many times will I say that? It's very early in the morning. My brain usually takes a little while to like get into the groove. But I wanted to not waste, like, I buy a lot of, not a lot, but I buy gear, and I don't actually do unboxings and gear reviews, which, like, we always talk about doing that kind of stuff, you know, and so I thought, let's try it for once. So we've got the Elgato Stream Deck Neo. So I've set up a basement studio, and it's kind of inspired because of really bad weather that we had. GRP, good morning, sir. Big E, GRP, kind of synonymous around here. So I've set up the basement studio, and I was just going to use it for creating these types of talking head videos, not necessarily for live streaming. But I thought, you know, why not just do live streaming from the alternate studio as well? Because we know editing videos is very time consuming. Going live is not. You know, you go live and it's one and done. And I'm kind of looking down because my monitor is right over the edge of my desk. So see, there's my hands. And so, and right here, we've got a top down. It's a Logitech C922 that's just pointed down at my desk. And it's on manual focus right now. So if I move this box around, it's, you know, it's going to be blurry if I bring it too close. Okay. So again, Stream Deck Neo, I just got this yesterday, and I thought, you know, this would be cool to add to my indoor studio. It's my fourth Stream Deck. I have a Stream Deck XL 32 button. I have a Stream Deck MK2 15 button. I have a Stream Deck pedal, and that's a 3 button. And I wanted something for in the house, in my basement studio. And so I thought, let's just get this little Neo, and it won't take up much space on my desk. So as you can see, maybe not. It's pretty small, you know. The entire box that it comes in is small. And there's nothing special about it. It's I have opened it. It's actually sitting right here. So I've got it plugged in. So, you know what? We don't need the box anymore. Let's just look at the Stream Deck. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's only got 8 buttons, but what's nice is it's got the dedicated page buttons. So these are non-programmable buttons. They're just page, advance, forward and backwards on your pages, however many pages you have. And then it's got the cool little display, your little clock or whatever you want to. Well, I won't say whatever you want to put there because I think it's limited what you can put. But these are the defaults. So I've just plugged it in and the Stream Deck software did detect it. And this is the out of the box configuration. So you know, I think this is page 1 and then this is page 2. And so let me just give you a little hardware walkthrough. Here's the big negative, right? This is probably why I'm not going to keep it. That USB-C cable is soldered in. You're not replacing this cable. And it's a 35-inch, so it's about a 3-foot cable, which is it's a little long for just having it sit on my desk. Because it's plugged into my Mac Mini, which is sitting on my desk as well. So it's like right here. It's kind of hard to see in my little window. And a 3-foot cable is a little long. I kind of like the cable though. It's kind of that, well, let me get my cameras oriented. So it's that bendy stuff. It's like a nylon fabric, but when you bend it, it sort of holds the shape. So you can, you know, like hide it out of the way. But a huge negative, right? Huge negative of having a hardwired cable. Like, that's pretty much a deal breaker for me. I've already initiated the return on Amazon for this thing. It was $89. So, you know, a little pricey, relatively speaking, because I think the 15-button Stream Deck is on sale right now for $119. So for $30 more, you know, you can have 15 buttons versus 8. But you don't get the dedicated page buttons and you don't get the cool little display. And I did want the display. I did like the idea of just having a clock always on my desktop, the top of my desk, without having to worry about, you know, unlocking my computer or I guess simply just looking at my watch. You know how it is when you're into gadgets, you just like to have different things. But yeah, so I was, you know, if it wasn't for that hard wired cable, this probably would have been a keeper. But yeah, because that hardwired, because cables go bad, right? USB cables are notorious for going bad. And having it soldered onto a piece of hardware, it's just a deal breaker. I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't understand why the cable has to be hardwired in. Every other Stream Deck that I know of, the cables are replaceable. You know, on some of my Stream Decks, I've got my Stream Deck pedal has a 50-foot USB cable on it. You know, that cable runs around chairs and underneath carpet and, you know, connects to the back of my Mac Studio out in the garage. And if that cable goes bad, I replace it with another cable. But the fact that this is a non-replaceable cable, it's just, you know, for something $90 to not have a replaceable cable, if that goes bad, I'm not going to go out and buy another $90 Stream Deck. So I definitely want something where I can replace a piece of that hardware that is known for, you know, going bad. Cables go bad. So this is going back, but I wanted to walk through it while I had it. The pedal. Oh, so Infinity's asking if the pedal will work on its own. The pedal will work on its own, but it's still controlled by the Stream Deck software. So it's it's got a USB-C connection on the pedal. But let me do this real quick. So here's the software, right? So this is the Stream Deck software, and I think I got my pedal in here. So if we connect, so this is the pedal screen, just for Infinity real quick. You know, so probably like not politically correct to show these buttons. But so I've got the mute button in the middle of my pedal. So that's the big button. And then what is this? The left button is just the pitch effects from the Rodecaster Pro. And then the right button plays the ching chong music. And you know, anytime someone says the word China, you hear the ching chong music. But yeah, so that's the pedal. You know, and it's just something you don't have to look at it. You eventually just learn where, you know, your foot gets the muscle memory of where to push. But let's get back to the Neo. So what I want to do on the Neo is just walk you guys through. If you're not familiar with Stream Deck, it's very simple, right? You install the app, and assuming you've plugged everything in correctly, and I'm sure this is from a Mac. This is from a Mac OS, I think 26. They call it Tahoe or something. But yeah, so this is what Stream Deck looks like on Mac OS. And like I said, I think Windows looks almost identical. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to program a few buttons for this OBS instance that I'm running. So it's very simple. Like I said, you just click the plus sign to add a new button. And we're going to add, typically the first scene I always add when I'm building a new OBS scene collection is my Blackout scene. And I typically will name a button Blackout. So when I'm shutting down, when I shut down OBS, I like to go to the Blackout scene. That way there's no devices that are kind of being tied up. No files, no video or anything, audio playing. I just go to Blackout. It's an empty scene. And I'm going to give it a black icon. So there we go. I'll just like a clean black icon there. Okay, so that's my Blackout scene. And what I'll do real quick, just for the sake of this video, is I'm going to add a scene for, I'm going to add this scene, this top-down. I'll call it the top-down split. Top-down split. And let's give it a nice colored button. How about baby blue? Baby blue right there. It's kind of hard to read. No, actually, it's not that hard to read. The color looks a little different on the actual Stream Deck. That, you know, you can kind of see it there. And the cool thing about Stream Deck is as you program buttons, you actually see the buttons reflected in real time on the device. So I'm going to program that to the, so here's my scenes, right? So people have asked me how I set up my scenes in OBS. I do these number sequences, right? So I've got my main scenes starting in the 0 through 100 range, right? So these are scenes that I would want to show like while I'm live. Anything in the 0 to 99 range, you know, these are scenes that I will show. Then as you go down, I've got scenes that I won't show. Like these scenes here are, you know, scenes that kind of make up other scenes. Like these are elements of the scene. Anything that's over 100 is typically going to be an element of a scene and not a scene in itself. I mean, it is technically a scene in OBS, but the purpose of that scene is really to just be a component of another scene. So when I'm putting buttons on the Stream Deck, I'm going to do buttons in the 0 to 100 range. So let's do the top-down split right here. And then we will do a scene. Actually, let me move this one over here. And then I'll do a scene that's just going to be, you know, like my solo talking head scene. Solo. So this will just be me solo. And I'll give that a color like purple. Okay. And let's program it to be 90, 91. Okay. So now if I actually click these, so let me click it. So I'm going to click this button now. See, and now we're going to my solo shot. And then if we can go back down to the top down split. So boom, we've already added a couple buttons to the Stream Deck. And so we are well on our way to being streamers. I'm going to add one more button here real quick before I forget. I want to add a mute button. So I'm going to add a mute button for my microphone. I'm not actually sure how this is going to work. I probably should have studied this a little bit more on my audio interface, being able to mute it. I'm a little confused here, but let's do this. Okay. I guess I need two buttons. I'll figure this out, but I'm going to add a mute and an unmute button because that seems to be how this is set up. So let's do that. I'm going to add, at least for now, I don't know any other way to do this. Do a volume change. Okay, so if I do a volume change to like negative 100, would that mute me? So let's name it. Can I name this button? Mute. And I'll name this one unmute. I really don't like wasting a button on an unmute and a mute. It should just be one button. I'm clearly confused about how this is functioning, but let's try it. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. I'm still not muted. Okay. I clearly don't know how this works. I will figure that out. So that's kind of that's a bust right there. But I'm going to delete those buttons then, since they don't work. Okay. Now, another thing I typically do is I'll have a scene for like kind of the starting soon scene. So I'm just going to call this one start soon. And this is my blur scene. So it's B90. I started with a B just so I know it's a blur. So let's activate the starting soon. Actually, I got another starting soon. Let's do the other starting soon. I actually have one called starting soon. There it is. Okay, let's change the button. Make it maroon. Okay, let's test it. Okay, so that works. So, you know, stuff. But speaking of intro, let's add an intro scene. So we're going to add intro. And we'll add the promo with infinity. And let's do that in oh yeah, snap. I forgot I have no sound on the starting soon. Good catch. I didn't really say much. I was probably just rambling. I don't even remember what I said. Okay, so we got an intro. So now let's test the intro button.
Sunday night, the show is cold. Tuesday evening, truth be told. Keep it locked, no better sound. Technically, we're unsound.
Man, we are almost official. Like we're almost well on our way to being real streamers here. And by By the way, I want to give a shout out to Nutty, right? We know our guy Nutty, all of us in the kind of the amateur podcasting community. Nutty is like a big inspiration for a lot of us. You know, he's Mr. Tech Review gear, you know, like here's gear that you probably don't need, but it's just cool. And we all go out and buy it. Yeah, he's a funny dude. I think he's actually Filipino. So allies there. I think he's either in Australia or New Zealand or something, but he has no accent. So it's kind of weird. Like when you think of someone from Australia, you know, you think about, hey, shrimp on the barbie, or you call that a knife? And so he just talks like an American. All right. So what else? What other kind of scene can we program while we're doing this? Let's see here. Okay. So you saw me program the intro, but this is honestly not how I would do it. I would do a multi-action for the intro. So what I'll do is I will add a multi-action button, and I'm going to call this intro. So now we're going to add the scene. Let me change that button color. Oh, it's not letting me. It's because I need to add stuff. So let's add a scene we're going to add the opening scene. So we'll do promo with infinity. And then now here's where you kind of got to know these things, but I'm going to add a delay. I'm going to guess 20 seconds. I don't remember exactly how long this intro is. And then I'm going to go to the scene called like split 4, right? So this is the scene that you would normally go to, 4-way split. And so that's that. So let me change this button to, we'll do bright yellow. Okay. So now this is the real intro button. Corrupt and immoral? Is this Mr. Cremo in the spot? Holy cow. Man, all you West Coasters rising and shining early with me today. Good morning, Cremo. Say hi to the family. All right. Now, let's see what happens when I push the multi-action intro button.
Sunday night, the show is cold. Tuesday evening, truth be told. Keep it like no better sound. Technically, we're unsound.
Okay. So clearly 20 seconds wasn't enough. But you kind of get the point there. You know, so you can layer the actions on top of each other in the multi-action button, but you do need to figure out your timing. And I do like using the multi-action because if you add longer music to your opener, then what you can do is you can kind of feather that music out, have it fade out, but you've already gone to the next scene. You know, if you're just jumping scenes manually, using the buttons directly, you can't layer that music, right? So when the music's going, you know, it's you kind of figure these things out as you're playing around with the buttons. And I think I'm doing the dual stream here. Let's take a look. Yeah, see? So we're doing a dual stream. Oh, why am I in the blur? This is weird. And I started shaking, doing my swerving again. So I don't know what I'm seeing here in my YouTube studio. It's like way behind. That's strange. Okay, YouTube. Oh, and here's the little product page. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I'm not even showing you guys this stuff. There we go. So this is what I'm seeing in YouTube Studio right now. It's like, I don't understand why I'm seeing that. That's not what I'm seeing on my phone. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, now YouTube Studio seems like it's, I'm wondering if YouTube Studio is way behind. I don't like it. Okay, so, wrapping things up with the Stream Deck Neo. $89 on Elgato. I got it on Amazon for, did I say 89? No, $99 on Elgato, 89 on Amazon. And they don't really tell you this, but they do right here at the bottom. They tell you that the cable is 35 inches, but it's fixed, right? So it's like a subtitle thing, or what do you call it? A footnote. I think that's important. Like, it should say right up here, USB-C fixed cable or fixed USB-C cable. Obviously I didn't read the footnotes. If I knew that it was a fixed cable, I wouldn't have bought this thing. It's I feel like it's I don't know, it's a bad design choice, Elgato. Come on, Elgato, you're normally, hitting doubles and triples and a few home runs every now and then. But this right here is, I'd call it I don't know, almost like a walk. It's okay. It's not a bad product. Having a fixed cable is just a showstopper for me. Okay. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to go through. I'm going to go on and do another one because I want to do a little review of my new headphones. Let me go to the solo shot. I got these headphones yesterday from Guitar Center. These are the Beyerdynamic 990 Pro X. And I mean, this is just comfort. And I know the Rode headphones, I think they're called like the H100s or something. Those are really nice. I've been using those Rode headphones for years. But for in the studio, I got the cheaper Rode headphones. And they're not comfortable. So I'm going to do another review on my headphones. But I also want to talk about those Rode little mini headphones. Not the H100s, but the one model down. It's like $50 cheaper. And those things are so uncomfortable and they hurt. My ears were actually hurting that I said, you know what? I'm going to dip into the 401k and I'm going to buy this Beyerdynamic 990 Pro X because those things were hurting. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going to go eat some breakfast because it is still early morning for all of us in the United States. But thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions on the Stream Deck Neo, like I said, I'm going to wrap this thing up and send it back. But I can pretty much answer questions on it if anybody has any. Probably not. Stream Decks are very common now. It does have the left and right buttons. Those are very cool. But otherwise, I'm going to have to give this thing, like a thumbs down. It's just hardwired cable is a showstopper. But all right, stay tuned for the next one. We will catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, like the video. And if you're not subscribed to Technically Unsound, please do so. I think we're probably going to have a pop-up one of these days. So stay tuned for that. But bye, everybody. Buenos tardes. I don't speak Spanish.